idea of there was evidence, there's video of somebody from Gaza, whether they're Hamas or a regular person, putting a baby in an oven and, like, come on.
How do you know that baby didn't voluntarily
That's not true. You guys made some AI generated pictures.
So it's not true. It's not true. Oh my God.
Exactly, it's not true. And everybody just disproved that you guys are lying.
So the video of themselves doing it is not true. So
okay,
can you
bring me the video?
It's not true.
Okay, can you give me the link?
Videos of
That's not the problem. Do you know why blacks vote for Democrats?
What are the most expensive places?
Do you know why blacks?
Crazy. Since the Civil War. The Civil War.
Yes, people choose the news they want now, but we
People choose the facts they want now. So what you've just described is impossible.
Only if you think an overwhelming majority of Americans are preternaturally stupid.
I do.
I don't. And if you let me, I can prove it. You know what you left out of your sermon? That America is the only country on the planet that since its birth has said over and over and over that we can do better. It's part of our DNA. People will want the news if you give it to them with integrity. Not everybody, not even a lot of people. 5%. And 5% more of anything is what makes the difference in this country. So we can do better.
2 hours in the tank. 1 hour left. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Ask Uncle Steve. If you're in the audience and want to come up and talk, just raise your hand and you can get a fresh five to talk about anything. And for those of you that are not shy, but you don't know what you want to talk about, here's what I refer to as the best 2 minutes on Clubhouse.
Tonight, breaking news as we come on the air. The winter storm warning's up right now. The third major storm of the week set to hit the Midwest and the Northeast tonight and tomorrow. 100 million Americans on alert for heavy snow, ice, flooding in the next 24 hours, bringing treacherous conditions in the West already. A firefighter trapped in his vehicle wiped off the road in a mudslide. How he survived. The storm moving east right now. Some areas more than a foot of snow, ready to hit many of the same areas already hit this week. At this hour, there are also tornado concerns. The storm sweeping from Minneapolis to Detroit, from Pittsburgh up through New York City. Millions bracing. Lee Goldberg has the forecast. He's tracking it all. Also tonight, thousands of American workers laid off at multiple federal agencies tonight, including the
The goonery is to think that she is a Harvard.
Hey, is this B guy? Hold on. Is this Edmonds listening?
BU.
Double H, you got me kicked out. What a bitch. What a bitch.
The videos, man. I work as a content moderator, so I see all the horrific videos every time.
That's a you thing. That's not an event.
Exactly. So I've never seen. I've seen Jewish people getting killed by the Hamas. I'm not denying that, but the Jewish people killed the Palestinians as well.
Okay.
But I've never seen a baby who got killed or something. Or charred or burned.
That's disgusting that you even want to even think about that. Like it's like they saw it. Even the heads of BBC talked about that. They saw people putting babies into ovens. Like, how could you deny it now? Like, you want proof, so you want an actual video of it happening. Is that what you want? Would that satisfy you? Dude, that's so masochistic. That's so...
Yo, David, genuinely asking, did you see the video of, the Hamas putting the babies in the ovens?
I do not want to see any of that. No, absolutely not. I don't want to see it, but I know every news organization saw it. I know when Trump became president, he saw all the films of all the Because don't
Why
forget.
would they believe Trump?
Don't
Why
forget.
would they
Don't
believe
forget.
Trump? Trump is literally
Don't forget
saying that
Hamas.
we should.
Hamas wore cameras on their body, and we have that footage as well.
Hold on,
You're
So you are expecting me to
No,
believe
we don't care if you believe it or not. We don't care.
No.
You're not going to talk your way out of this. Listen,
Okay,
the
why
evidence
would
is
they
already
believe Trump?
in.
What?
The verdict
Why would they
doesn't
believe
matter.
what Trump
You
is
don't
saying?
believe
Why would
it.
they?
Yeah.
No, man. Why would they believe Trump? Trump wants to
You
deport
don't have
all
to.
the
We don't care who
Palestinians,
you
man.
believe. Doesn't matter.
What the fuck,
You're
man?
You're
Man,
not going
Trump
to talk
wants
your
to
way
fucking
out of
take
this.
all of the Gaza, bro.
I get it.
Trump wants to deport all
You
the
made your
Palestinians
point.
to Egypt and
You made your point.
Jordan.
You're
And you're
not
telling me you want
talking
to
your way
believe
out
Trump?
of this one. You're not
Man,
talking your way out of this. You can yell and talk all you want.
Better to have a short life that is full of what you like doing. We don't say rising into love. There is in it the idea of the fall. Take better to have a short life that is full of short life that is full of what you like doing than a long life.
Open up the door for me, open up the doors, and open. I wake up every morning and tell myself, good morning, gorgeous. Sometimes I gotta look in the mirror. I wake up every morning.
always thought peace was the reward after war. But the war never ended. I've watched good people die. People that deserve more in life. More than me. Yet I'm still here.
Hey, John. You still come to see him after all these years?
Every time I get a chance, reminds me of the good old days.
Ah, yes, you were a hothead back then, John.
And you were one hell of an ass kisser, Master.
Listen, I have an MIA squad. 2 of them were your students. I can't send in an official team. I need you, Johnny boy. What do you say? For old time's sake.
Do I have a choice?
Not really. Just being courteous.
Good morning. You're not getting out of here alive, boy. Target is on the loose, General.
You shouldn't have come, John. It was a trap.
I couldn't let you die.
Goodbye, Joe.
We're getting out of here alive.
But when you get down into the world of fishes, they have exactly the same thing. Only, instead of depending on collecting a lot of books and things like that, it is the precise way, the very subtle wiggles of the tail, the little tremors of vibration that makes one fish a very superior fish as compared with other fish. And all the other fish.
Teacher will be good for this, but you know, this variety right here, it's going to be, you know, a lot stronger and a lot more physical. And there's also, you know, the ratio between some of the psilocybin-containing mushrooms have more psilocin in it right off the bat. You know, so that's important too. I had some psilocin for the first time, a significant amount with a group of friends in the mountains, and I was surprised at how strong it was, how much of a difference it makes when you don't have to have things. It goes faster for sure.
Did you withdraw $50, Bill? I think you owe $50
Well, the whole not having to have it go
today.
through your stomach and your intestines.
$50 bill,
For people
he
with
said.
different levels of health get higher, so that's all equalized. It's like, here's a psilocin.
I'm immigrant. Actually, you're right. I'm immigrant.
Trying to find something that works for my
I immigrated to your brain, actually. I'm actually occupied your brain.
It's fair to say you don't try, and I couldn't find it because nobody's like, you know, nobody that grows it is selling it, and it's not going around. So I decided to learn how to cultivate mushrooms so that I could experiment with this specific cultivar, and through that process, like, just opened these doors into cultivars that I hadn't really given much attention to, and it's become a can of worms. But the mushroom that I find really interesting right now, when I started researching it, was referred to as Aphnatolensis, but has recently been recategorized as Ocraciocentrata. Don't know if I have the pronunciation correct on that, but like, it has an extremely high baeocystin percentage in ratio to its psilocybin content, and it treats when I cut it down, I spent months looking for threshold dosage and cutting it down to a microdose, and I've got the microdose on those in like 20 milligrams, and those are more effective than any teachers, apes, any of the strong cubes that I've experimented with, anecdotally in the effect of treating what I've understood is now anxiety. Like things that paralyzed my life that I didn't really know were paralyzing my life because they were so masked. But yeah, it's really opened up a lot of doors.
Okay, so you're saying that going as low as 0.02 grams, is that what I heard you say? 20
Correct.
Milligrams.
But
that very small amount. You're getting better anxiety relief.
These have a threshold
of the mixture of the beta cysteines. Go ahead.
Well, this specific mushroom, the threshold dose is around 120 milligrams. So that's your museum.
Uh-huh.
So the 10% of that is in the 12 to 20 milligram range.
So it's about as strong as penis envy, generally speaking.
But it's higher. I would say it's roughly twice as strong as penis envy. It's it's not as strong as azarescence or cyanescence, but it's definitely stronger than the Shaktis, the Tooks, the tidal waves, penis envies, all that stuff. It's like half again to twice as strong, just by weight. But the baeocystin ratio is higher.
Yeah, we really want to have you having a conversation with James McGonkey because, his knowledge on this stuff is 1 or 10,000 times greater than mine. I mean, I know what you're talking about, but I don't have any knowledge or opinions. Does anybody else have anything they want to add about this? Raise your hand or show up. Where are you, Gregory? Where are you from?
Oh, I live in the grand state of New Mexico. I moved here from the Northwest about 6 years ago. And in other news, like our medical psilocybin just passed through tax and revenue the other day unanimously. So we're on a good path towards actually being a state where this research can go public and practice.
Yeah, that would be great. If we're in a world where when you really realize the potential reach and scope of microdosing, that we're just even beginning to figure out what's most effective, you could see it spreading really far and wide and taking down by a lot the amount of pharmaceuticals that people are ingesting and, helping them and supporting them as they taper off, and then having people not working with the pharmaceuticals, which, as we say over and over, really just mask symptoms and are addictive because you can't stop them without terrible side effects. So guess what? That's the definition of addictive. Yeah, I see that world, and then people like you will be able to help really figure out what works best. I mean, or another question is, and he doesn't like me talking a lot about Amanita, Jim Fadiman that is, but the reality is that Amanita's pretty good for anxiety. That's always been, anecdotally, that's what's most in its wheelhouse. And it's like, why is that? And how does Amanita work at all, given that it's not working with serotonin? How does that whole neuroplasticity thing happen?
I actually kind of poo-poo, subconsciously poo-poo the Amanitas because it's like, in my mind, when I first got introduced to the whole world of psychedelics, I dove deep, and it's like, Amanitas are not fun. Muscimol is just it's medicine. I feel but it's not one of the fun ones. So I think I misappropriately discredit it, but I would be really interested to see the research on what those really small amounts do in the body, what they're actually affecting.
Well, I mean, there is the book, Microdosing with Amanita by Baba Masha, which Jim Fadiman wrote the foreword for, but it is also true that there's a lot less research with Amanita generally, and when you say it isn't as fun, I only use Amanita in really small amounts. I have a tincture from All Things Amanita, which is a site that I trust, and I have 2 or 3 or 5 drops at most, 1/5 of the pipette, and it's such a teeny tiny dose, but I really feel that I love it. It's sweet, it's supportive, it'll wake you up or put you to sleep when you need it, and I know quite a few people who really like Amanita in teeny tiny doses. Now, I'm not so sure about Amanita in large doses, even if it's properly decarboxylated. We have a friend, Avi Esther, and some other friends, Kevin Feeney and Carla, who these people have all had large doses of Amanita, and they all swear it's super psychedelic, and I don't doubt them, but I don't know that I need the hard drive of my brain being re-etched by what Amanita is capable of, even when it's properly prepared. And I've also tried a tincture that has just a teeny tiny amount of raw, so the ibotanic acid is full on, and like 2 drops was too much. The tincture was labeled experimental, which I thought was funny. I was like, no, it's not. But you know, you learn what you like. Like they also make a mostly but not fully decarboxylated pantherina, and I really like that. If I only take just a few drops, it's really great for physical activity.
So yeah, when I say fun, there's air quotes behind that, and I think the idea that you bring up here, where we like, medicine doesn't always need to be fun, right? And I think it's an immature perception of myself to be like, oh yeah, blood. It's not creating like an ecstatic feeling. That kind of gets in the way of like actual potential healing. You know, it's like we could easily miss something by not looking at it from the correct perspective. But what you have to say is really interesting about what it can do for you, like so you say when you're using it in an active sense, like you're going to go work out or go for a run or a hike or something like that.
Yeah, if I'm going to go to the gym.
So you're off 1 or 2 drops, you're feeling like
right,
an actual. It's not sub-perceptual. It's actually.
You know, am I hypnotizing myself? Is it on some level placebo? Is placebo being broadly defined as the placebo process and the ability of our mind and body to interact each other, regardless of our understanding the biomechanics of it? I don't know. I think I can really feel it, but it's hard to tell. You know.
Yeah.
And I have another friend. Her name is Melissa. She sometimes comes here, and she was like me, using just no more than 3 or 4 drops of the Amanita she had. And if you talk to her, you can hear her. So this is a strange way to think, because it doesn't. In some ways, it's not helpful. But when we think of the number of molecules involved, the number of so like for LSD, the example is that 1 microgram has 1.54 quadrillion molecules of LSD in it, and LSD is super light and heavy duty. So something like these Amanita tinctures, I'm guessing that each drop has at least trillions, if not quadrillions, of molecules in it. So there is a level at which it's not that hard to put together a story about how that many molecules in a body that has 40 trillion cells, that a lot of the cells that might be affected can come into contact with even a little bit of it. And when you look on Reddit, there are people talking for almost all the substances who end up making mistakes of going an order of magnitude below what they thought they were going to take. And sometimes it's been 2 orders of magnitude, and people are still really feeling it. And you've probably run into it, but I've run into people who take vanishingly small doses of psilocybin, and they'll tell you that they're absolutely can know when they're on and when they're not on. The whole thing with not so much.
No, I think there really are people that are extremely sensitive, and there is a spiritual sensitivity, like an esoteric type thing, and then there's a biosensitivity, and those both need to be taken into account. Like, I know people that can hold a mushroom and be like, oh, I know what kind of power this has versus this other one, right? Like, you can feel that without ingesting it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, so homeopathy works more on the spiritual or energy essence sense.
But yeah, I don't think that's a placebo. Like, just feeding into that earlier statement that you said.
No, it's not. I mean, Connor Murray has done some great research in 2024 on something called neural complexity, and it's pretty clear that even vanishingly small amounts. Oh shit! I don't know if it was LSD or psilocybin. Has the same effect of how they define neural complexity as large doses do. So we've seen this, not I'm going to say across the board, but in several things where the microdosing range of dose has a similar signal, but a much lower amplitude than a macro dose. So the same thing is going on.
Analogy.
Yeah, I just think it's and somebody actually asked us a question. We did this Reddit AMA couple of days ago, and stray questions keep coming in, and we're answering them. And one of the questions is like, how do I know when I get to that level of diminishing my dose of psilocybin-containing mushrooms that it's really moved over to mostly placebo? And our response at the end was, well, that's kind of a theoretical question that you can't ever answer. It's not an answerable question. So, yeah, according to Connor Murray, we can just stop talking about the question, is it a placebo or not? We know it's not at this point. And just like we know it's not,
Bitch, why you say my name?
Are you sure you
Why the
need
fuck
that?
are you saying my name, bitch?
Because this the only opportunity I'm gonna
Why
give
are
you
you
to talk
saying
yourself
my
out of this
fucking
ass
name?
whooping.
No, bitch, but you got mad because I literally said you was a dumbass.
It's the only opportunity that I'm gonna give you
After
to
this
come
fight,
out of this
you
ass
still gonna be
whooping.
the dumbass bitch that voted for Donald Trump.
That's fine, but do you want to out of this ass whooping or not?
Like I said, I'm 2 minutes away from
Do you
the
want
car.
out of this ass whooping or
Are you going to be
not?
there, bitch? Are you going to be
Yes.
there or not? Are you getting your car? Get in your fucking car. Because you keep saying all this. Are you sure you want this? No, bitch. Come on. Let's go.
Okay.
Come on, let's go. Let's go. Bring your ass. Come on, let's go. I don't get why you even doing all that talking, bitch. I've been quiet this whole time. You either coming or not, bitch. You coming or not?
I'm on the way.
Hey, now, Dylan, you gotta start heading there. At least you gotta show proof that you there. And then motherfucking JB should be there a few minutes after you, maybe like 10 minutes or something. You left already, JB?
Y'all need to fight on Facebook. At least y'all get paid.
Y'all better put some Vaseline
No,
on.
I'm still getting ready. I'm actually done now. I'm about to head out the door. I'll head out the door.
Vaseline on
What
y'all
the fuck
face.
you gotta look cute for a fight?
I'm not looking cute. I had to put my clothes on. You are about the wrong stuff.
Put some Vaseline on y'all face.
Damn, why y'all rushing the people that's like 2 minutes away? Shit.
I'm 23 minutes away, baby. I'm about to hop in my car right now.
God, you hear me? Hands up, God, hand up.
Me and Jay gonna be recording.
Don't put that fucking hand up.
I'll be there at 12:15.
What time is it?
No windmilling.
34 times.
Oh, I've got my shoes on, y'all. I'm on my way.
So everybody should be there around 12:15. So around 12:15 should be no.
So where is we watching at?
We getting the exclusive first, and then.
You'll be listening to the wrong people. You know, like what give you a fucking itinerary and shit like that. You ain't hit on none of them little releases out there, bitch. I got that 5 for free, and I'm supposed to be getting an 85 seconds. I don't wear the size 11, and he wearing the size 11 all weekend.
You need to go try to get them unions, them Chicago unions.
I already tried. I hit bruh and told him that too.
Said Nardo wear 11 on them bitches too.
All weekend for sure.
That shit popped up on my motherfucking timeline yesterday. I'm like, God.
Suki, so tell us why there's no war in Gaza.
So they put them to sleep and they put the tracking devices in?
Suki, why does 80% of the Israeli people don't want no war anymore, Suki? Why is the time?
Nobody likes war.
Bibi.
Do you know who likes the war?
Bibi.
Hamas.
Israel. Bibi.
Hamas
Bibi
loves the war.
Netanyahu. Bibi.
You can ask like Joe Schmo. They always say like no war. They
Bibi.
always say that. They always say anti-war. Everyone knows that.
No war, no war. But Suki, what's going on? You were wrong. You and El Nastro were wrong about Saturday. Do you take
Watch and
accountability?
see. Watch and see.
Okay, so now give us the prediction. What time? What time?
No. Watch and see. I like when you're using your tongue.
It's out there. People are looking for us, and they think it okay to us.
Yeah. Donald Trump said after 12 p.m. Okay.
Yeah,
That's Donald Trump, right?
Hostages were released, so he.
No. Donald Trump, if he said all hostages.
Yeah, but that's a negotiating tactic. Everyone
Yes,
knows
at least we. All right. See, at least you're talking realistic. You know what's going on, Candy.
Like, what did Keir Starmer do?
Windmill worms.
The Labour Party leader.
He's a scum, is what he did. He's a scum.
שבוע טוב,
מה שלומך, קושוקי? מה שלומך, חנה?
כולו תמם.
מה המצב? She looks kind. She probably gives you butterflies.
So when will this war start again, Suki? Please tell me, because you were wrong about today.
Why the war start? Did you question the death?
When is it going to start again? Because you were wrong about
today. Hold on a minute. Let us take all the lines out, and then we will see.
Oh, well, that's different, of course. Well, anyone can predict that. That's not a bold thing. Of course we want all the hostages out. If all the hostages are out, then yeah, why wouldn't they want to not go back?
Sensible and reasonable. It can accommodate what is not sensible and reasonable, which is for... Oh, you see, this means that... Legenda de amor.
They kicked me.
Nagging in Clubhouse has become so pathetic.
Very toxic, dude. Very
private ownership, the ability to preserve and acquire and pass down like your cattle or your daughter, or arrange marriages so you can bring two houses together. You know, the issue that I was actually on Wall Street for 16 years, but the issue that I found is
That's it. Done.
Kidnap your son. Oh, that's no good. Anyways, if you can't even have a good vacation,
I give up with this man.
The status of life must be just not of quality. Everything looked picture perfect, but was it picture perfect? Here to answer is Mandarin. Mandarin.
Hello.
Incredible.
The gays are here. They're waiting for Dylan.
God, you know what? Dylan, I was in another room with Dylan, and someone
Go
called
Gamax and honestly I forget. Gamax
or whatever. He's like, I want them to wear
Gamax, Samoa,
you. And he's all, you're fucking
that's go on.
You're a sick, abusive person, and here's the thing, any girl with like that understands red flags is not gonna want to do
right now is Muhammad Abbas.
The ideology is to continue the suppression of Islamic unity, and if that means supporting Israel, that's what it is. I don't give a shit if Israel was called Poop Land. Then we would be saying, hey, Poop Land is going to ensure the Islamic unity is not...
That's what they don't understand. From what I hear, even from Americans, it's not even about Israel. They are happy that someone is wiping out Muslims. People around the world.
They sell it to you, dude. That's how.
No, they don't sell it to. Listen, you know how they sell it to us? You crashed the plane in our towers. That's how they sold it to us. That when you did that, y'all was screaming Allahu Akbar in the middle of it.
But it was
so
them.
Listen, that's how they sold it to us. There's no other way that it was sold.
It literally was them. Have you heard of the dancing Israelis?
Listen, It don't matter. Y'all from the same place. That's what you don't get. Palestine and Israel is a border away. So
Yeah, but
to
Saudis.
differentiate the people is weird. Both of y'all speak Arabic and Hebrew. A lot of you all speak same languages. You look the same. A lot of you are just
But we don't
not
look the
religious.
same. Look at this guy. I mean, with all love and respect to James, he ain't Middle Eastern.
He's actually a Karaite Jew. So that was my point about Jews being from all over the world. James is not a
Oh, he's a Karaite Jew. Okay, that explains a lot. Okay, I respect that.
It does explain a lot. I don't mention it because, I like to just continue the argument. But as soon as I say that, people always go, well, that explains.
Yeah, bro, I respect that. I
Completely different ideology. You're right.
Zionism is the worst thing that happened to Judaism, and it also violates the Talmud, but you don't even believe in Talmud, which is good. But yeah, I mean, even if you believe in Talmud, Zionism is the worst thing that happened to Jews, period.
Well, it's
That's
the
like
same for all the...
That's like saying the Black Revolution was bad for black people.
No.
No, it's not like that.
I don't think you understand what Zionism is. So Zionism was made by people who are atheists.
I know what Zionism is.
Okay, so then if you don't believe in God, there's no way you should be using a religion to tie yourself to a landmass, right? You can't use God for your benefit and then say you don't believe in him. So
that's Jews shouldn't have a state. The Jews believe that they shouldn't have a state until the Mashiach comes, which he will never come because according to Daniel, he already came. Either way, you have to. You cannot have your own Jewish state according to Judaism. So Zionism is an issue to Jews. It is.
Yeah, and this is the problem with Israel that I have, is that they've connected it to Zionism and the faith and blah, 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 which presents on the other side, like rabbis doing, an argument of counter in some type of faith. Oh, the Messiah already came, you shouldn't have a state, blah, blah, blah. That's the reason you don't do that, because look what has happened. Now they're saying you can't have a state because you believe that you only can have a state with the Messiah. They shouldn't have named it Israel. They should have named it something fucking else. Anything else, and they'd probably be a...
Yeah, exactly. If you don't turn it into a so-called Jewish state, which is not Jewish. I mean, according to Jewish law, you can't own land. You have to shuffle it every Jubilee, right? But they don't do that.
Well, Rabbi, I gotta know, what do you think is worse, a Jewish Zionist or a Christian Zionist?
Christian Zionist, Jewish Zionist.
Way worse, because they have no claim in the state, no stake in the claim.
David, since we're talking.
Why not? Because I consider myself to be a Christian Zionist.
Not only that, but we're having a conversation really quickly before anyone comes in new, and for everyone in the audience. We're having a friendly debate. There are Jews on stage, so please don't think we're up here being anti-Semitic. It's just a friendly talk about Israel.
Well, I am anti-Semitic, but I'm just saying that Judaism is... Zionism is not compatible with Judaism, is what I'm saying. If you look at it from a religious standpoint. If you're not religious, you're not a Jew. The Jews have Torah. If you don't believe in Torah, you're not a Jew. It's that simple.
Yeah, but that's besides the point, I think, right?
That's not besides the point.
No, it's not. So that's the thing. You can't be secular and be a Roman Catholic priest. You have to pick one. Hold on, really quick, David. So this is the point. You cannot use religion when it's to your benefit, but you're an atheist, because an atheist doesn't believe in God or anything close. No religion should be considered by an atheist when making any decision. So the fact that these people, the fact that the leaders, I'm not talking about the people at the bottom, the leaders will say that they don't believe in God and that they are atheists, but then pull out the Bible and call people Amalek, shapeshifters, right? And say they deserve to die. But you don't believe in the Bible. It doesn't even govern your life.
It's more disturbing. The reason I say Zionism... Hold on a second, David. I'm saying Zionism is actually opposed to Judaism. If you look at the early Zionists and how they spoke about the Jews, they looked at the Jews as totally pitiful people who aren't worth shit. If you just read what they said about them, and they, if anything, the Zionists wanted the Jews to become like the Goyim. If anything, they wanted to change the old poor sick. They called them as sick dogs, is what they called it. Yeah, the Zionism is the worst thing that happened to Judaism, and the Jews who are Zionists are so far detached from Judaism itself. Like, that's how I see it.
Why do you think the Orthodox Jews don't like the Israeli government? They're like fighting them tooth and nail. Even before October 7th, bro. I see them all the time getting hemmed up by the IDF. They do not like religious Jews.
Yeah, but leave them alone. I would just say leave them alone.
Yeah, who is the so-called
David, please shut up.
Well, stop talking about them, and then...
No one's talking about... You know what? You gotta go to the bar.
What are you talking about right now? What are you talking about?
No, you gotta go to the bar.
With all due respect, you're talking about right now.
Do Jews run America?
No.
David, you can't have this conversation. Ethan, you want to say something?
Is it a man?
Trying to elaborate on what Rabbi was saying. There was an element of Zionist literature that did look at Jews like a ghost, all these things that we would probably read about in anti-Semitic literature too. What the Zionist was a secular movement against religious, messianic kind of like, waiting for a Messiah to come. So they said, we're not going to wait. We're just going to like roll up our sleeves and take the shovel and take the gun and just do things on our own. And this offended religious believers. You can't do this because we have to wait for the Messiah. This is where the competition and the odds at each other. But there are so many different aspects of this. There is religious Zionism. There's post-Zionism, neo-Zionism, classic Zionism. So it's really just, it's very confusing and it's very, very involved. The only Orthodox...
That's correct, but no matter how you look at it, it is opposed to Judaism. Like, so religious Zionism is something that I personally cannot comprehend.
Wait. That would depend.
Well, I like the way that Atan said it. He said that they originally started to adopt some anti-Semitic tropes, and that's what has, and Jews want a state, they want to build the temple, they want to control the world, and then you hear things like Israel saying, oh, we're the chosen people, we're going to build the temple. Israel, for example, existing with that name is another part of that trope that they have embraced, which only enforce these tropes that continue today. So I think you're correct, Rabbi, that Zionism has hurt Jews.
It absolutely has. It has. Nobody in their right mind would disagree with that.
Well, like the religious people don't believe that there's a state, Israel. They believe that we are Israel. Every Jew is Israel. They didn't fall, you're there.
Right. So if we go to Theodor Herzl, who was an atheist, and was all of his children married out, there was nothing religious about it, and whomever said that, yes, they wanted to be Gentiles among the Gentiles and didn't succeed is right. What Theodor Herzl was primarily concerned with, and he tried to get all the Jews in Austria to convert, and that didn't work. He just didn't want there to be a people that were being oppressed with pogroms, and later on the Holocaust, and the Dreyfus Affair, and this and that, and the other thing. He didn't care about religion. He wasn't for it or against it or anything. He just wanted to. He didn't even care if it was in Israel or not. He didn't even care where this Jewish state was.
Yes, but don't you think he's more like Pharaoh? Because he thinks he knows more than God himself. Because in the Torah, it literally tells you, if you do these things, then it will be good for you. If you don't do them, then you'll get fucked. So I would argue it's because of people like Theodor Herzl that the Holocaust happened.
Well, you look at Herzl, he was looking at South America originally, and it was only actually the Nazis and what was it, at the time, British-controlled Palestine, their bank, that specifically chose Palestine at that moment, Israel today, as the selection location. And they did it because it would hurt the Jews, not because it would help the Jews, because there's plenty of places that another Jewish state could have been built at. It was intentionally placed there by outside sources of our agreement, for example.
Very interesting.
They knew that they were...
You acknowledge that. That's very interesting.
They knew that they were going to draw wider support if it wasn't, the ancestral land. So that's, what they did. But
the problem is they're turning the Jews into a nation. That's kind of the thing.
Wait. Okay. I don't like disagree with you, Rabbi, because I love a lot of the stuff you say. But let's go back, and you know Hebrew well. When they say...
No, I don't speak Hebrew.
Okay, well, you made that impression that you do, but okay, let's go on. They say Ab Israel and Dat Moshe. So what they say is the nation of Israel and the law of Moses. This is what is said in the Torah. Okay, where were we going with this? You were saying that the opposition between Zionism.
I'm saying that there are many different contradictions. One of them, for example, is the Jews aren't allowed to fight unless it is to preserve their faith. But that's
the Jews are not what? The Jews are. Say that again, please.
The Jews never wanted to fight wars unless it is for their faith. But they're not allowed to have armies and fight wars for expansion and etc. 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 But the Zionists have a different perspective.
I'd like to know where that is. That's interesting. Where they're not allowed to have armies. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm confused too. Where is that?
For example, I don't know where it is from on top of my head, but the Jews in general they're not allowed to have a state. For example, there's a very interesting rabbi called Rabbi Yaakov Shapiro. Very smart guy.
I mean, I think you're referring to the fall of when Nebuchadnezzar's time happened. And, I mean, I guess you're correct there, but that was the consensus of, like, the last Sanhedrin. But, I mean, it's a new time.
Well, I mean, that's a big question mark there, right? I mean, that's the consensus of the Sanhedrin, but it's a new time. But, I mean, we don't have a Sanhedrin.
The time I'm referring to, Etan, is when Nebuchadnezzar captured the last Jewish Israeli king, took him prisoner, killed his son in front of him, and then stabbed his eyes out and told him, the last thing you'll ever see is your son's done.
Like the Babylonian exile. That's what you're
saying. And then the Babylonian exile, exactly following.
Okay.
And that's what the consensus was then, is that Israel's not supposed to have a state from that point because God killed their king and used Nebuchadnezzar to do it. And Nebuchadnezzar's even seen as like a chosen figure, oddly, as evil as he was.
Right, and then, so correct. So the Jewish belief is that you don't have a state until the Mashiach comes, and when he comes, then he does whatever he does.
Yeah, so my next question is this. So do you believe that the rest of us are Gentiles and we're not, like, where do we live? Because that's what I'm saying, like...
you're going to be with us.
Well, what is this? Is this why you guys don't believe in Jesus? Because his promises were extended to people?
I don't think that's
right. I would love to debate any Jew about the Torah. They would have to believe in Jesus. That's the thing.
I agree with that.
But why did you say Torah? I would love to
agree with one person here. Messiah coming. Right? I think they believe that Israel is formed completely that the Messiah would come, right? So hence that's why they're rushing to take over Palestine.
That's an unfounded belief. That's a
well, the problem is the Messiah is the one that's supposed to make the state.
Exactly.
If anything.
Correct.
So don't you think that maybe they're trying to make the state so that Netanyahu could be the Messiah?
What it is that there's I forget what they're called, like the progressive Jews, right? It's this weird Reform Jews or whatever they're called. They believe that Jews in general are the Messiah. So that's their ideology. That they believe the entire group is the Messiah.
Exactly. They essentially switched out the Messiah figure.
Oh, yeah, instead of one Messiah figure being the bloodline of David, they believe that the entire people is the Messiah. It's very specific to Reform Jews.
I would say it's just Reform Jews. It's also Rabbi Rashi. It's also Rabbi Rashi. Oh my God, Bobadilla.
We're talking Rashi now. What about Rashi?
Rashi did that. Rashi did that for Isaiah 53. He actually is saying that instead of everywhere where it says Messiah, he changed it to the people of Israel. So that idea stems from there.
Instead of a figure. But when you read Isaiah 53, it doesn't. You said what, Rabbi?
It changed a lot. Some of them believe that there's two different Messiahs.
It's actually a huge reason why
everyone's a Messiah.
It's a huge reason why Karaites have such a problem with the rabbinical Jews is because they've done that.
That's exactly right. And I'm glad you're here, James, because when you read 53, clearly Israel as a people are distinct from the Messiah, and how all you got to do is go read it. You can read it and you can see that clearly the Messiah is not being referred to a people.
Correct. That suffering servant is being afflicted because of the lawlessness of my people, he said.
Yeah, exactly.
So
thank you, Rabbi.
So based on that, what is the end goal? What is the end of it?
The end goal is that's the wrong...
It's a wrong interpretation. Exactly. It's a wrong interpretation, David, and essentially you have to account for the Messiah, a person that's supposed to fulfill that role. not a people.
And if this was a Messiah and it wasn't Israel and this was prophecy coming true, then every Jew would probably be there. There's a reason why instinctually Jews like me are like, hell fucking no, I'm not going to Magic Sandland to play in your experiment.
That's right. Well, they want you to because they want to destroy your identity.
Why do you say it so aggressively?
That's not
I'm American. That's just the way we speak, baby.
Yeah,
we speak aggression.
I'm American.
Well, but yeah, if you look at it from a theological standpoint, Zionism is an attack on Judaism, dude. You understand that?
No.
Yeah, there's a reason the Karen population is over here in America.
Okay. Zionism is kind of like a contrast to Messianism. Okay, to say that it's against Judaism as such altogether.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I wouldn't go that far. I don't know.
Well, aren't the Jews waiting
Okay, well, hold on. Let's just be honest, okay? So we don't have to go that far. Just hear me out. If we're saying that the people who started Zionism are atheists and they don't believe in God, how in the hell could they be pro-Judaism?
Well, why
exactly.
They're the most anti-Jew.
Wait.
Really quick, why is Zionism on trial here right now?
It's not, David. You're going back down. See you later.
Have you ever looked at the structure of Israel's actual government? They do have a president and they have a prime minister, and they use those words, but they're not. It's a monarchy. The president is a king, and he's supposed to be the president of all Jewish people. He's the king of all Jewish people, essentially. So they've taken the very religious structure and idea, even the Sanhedrin, and they've flipped it into a secular, non-God form, which is without Judaism. So that's impossible to say they're for Judaism when they are without it.
Well, and not only that, they also speak on behalf of all Jews, because Netanyahu is kind of like a Jewish pope, it seems.
Well, Netanyahu is just the head of the Israeli government. It's the president of Israel that would be the Jewish pope. He's literally the president of Jews. That's what they call him.
Interesting.
He's a king. It is a king. They just use the word president, but that is a king in all terms and condition.
But Zionism, as an idea, seems to believe that Israel is not only a country of Jews, but it represents all the Jews in the entire world, even those who are not Israeli.
I mean, you clearly are with the TV a lot. I'm telling you that Netanyahu, right? A prime minister is replaceable. He's just Churchill. There is a king that is there in Israel. He's called a president. And he's the guy that runs the entire country. He's the guy who ensures that Netanyahu gets approved, et cetera, et cetera. If you're angry at somebody, that's the guy you'd be angry at. But you're always focused on Netanyahu because of TV. I don't even know his name. I'll have to bring it up. I don't know how to print it.
Okay. Because if the claim is that there's a separate guy who's this king, right? The real question becomes: is he actually the king, or is it?
Yeah, that is actually a king. If you look at it, they call it a ceremonial position, but it's passed off through lineage.
That's what I was going to bring up. Like, is it ceremonial? Like how the British have made the monarchy more ceremonial than actually having power?
It has more power than the British king of the Parliament does.
So I would disagree, because the thing is, James, that we don't see that. At the end of the day, it's Netanyahu out here who is making the decision.
He's the head of the government. That's the difference.
Right. But then, because one would argue, okay, is it a ceremonial? This king you're talking about, is that a ceremonial position? We can't see this king doing anything. We see Benjamin doing everything.
He can fire and hire, and he's the one who puts. He's the reason Netanyahu is who Netanyahu is.
Who is the reason why Netanyahu is?
Herzog. President Herzog.
For clarification, there's only one.
How do you pronounce it?
Okay, Herzog is a president.
It's a king. We can call it a president, but I've looked at the power structure, and that is a monarchy if I've ever seen one.
Wait a minute. Monarchy is, if we break down the word, is ruling of one. Okay, but in Israel you have a president and a prime minister. You have
It's no different than the parliamentary structure of England. None. Not at all. It is identical.
But the monarchy and the parliament are separate.
But you admit that it does function as a monarchy. It's separate, sure. The parliament can run and operate on its own with the will and approval of the monarch.
I don't give a fuck how much these things cost right now. I really don't. And to be completely honest, the price of these things affects me the most. I'm basically carnivore. I eat like 8 of these fucking chicken fetuses.
You're saying it's identical to British monarchy in every way, but in British monarchy, the royal family is a family. I mean, it's...
Yeah, but the House of Lords has no power.
So who's the president's
You
father?
can find very small differences.
Very small differences.
But the operation
one of them is an ancestral dynasty, and the other one is an electable position.
It is the way it is.
That's a glaring difference. That's not a minor difference.
But just because they use the word president
just
does not
mean... Just because you think you raise your voice louder than me, it doesn't make your point better.
Just because you think that a prime minister is in control does not mean they are.
No, I'm just pointing out a glaring difference.
No, you pointed out a small difference that it is elected by the Senate.
I don't think it is a small
the same way
difference.
like
I
the
think
House
it's a
of
pretty
Lords.
big difference.
It's not a big difference. It really isn't.
Here's my thing, James. I think at the end of the day, when it comes to Zionism and or I forget the other word that you guys use, because I even associate communism respectfully with the Jewish community. And I think we can't ignore that there have been several movements. Who the fuck is talking? Like, chill out. James, I don't think we can ignore, and I like that you guys have various positions within the Jewish community. I think that's very healthy. But I don't think we can sort of ignore the fact that there have been movements within the general Jewish diaspora that has essentially tried to sanitize and or create godless versions of Judaism. Essentially, David, stop interrupting me, bro.
He's actually making a good point.
I don't think you can ignore that there have been movements. Ryan, chill out. I don't think you can ignore that there have been movements within the Jewish diaspora that essentially tries to create godless and or secular versions of Judaism, where you essentially keep certain aspects of Judaism, but then you switch out the ultimate hierarchy of God at the top with humans and or their own moral systems. So I think that's important to sort of bring to the forefront.
Well, I don't
respectfully,
know. Of course. Why do you say godless? But be reminded that in Christianity, you have 35,000 denominations.
Okay.
Each one calling the other one godless.
Okay.
So I don't think
that's not true. That's not a true statement, but I don't know how that applies.
Well, I don't know. I mean, what branch of Judaism is godless?
Reform.
Yeah, so Zionism. So that's what we're.
Zionism is not a branch of Judaism.
Yes, it is. That's our point.
That's not our point.
It's not Judaism.
That's our point. I know the Jews don't like to be honest about it.
It's your point.
You can't.
That's
a lot of
people agree with our point. A lot of people agree with our point.
Who is our? Who is
so hold on. Not even just Zionism. I would say also communism and other forms are essentially Jewish people creating secular versions of Judaism with their own moral frameworks. Right, where they replace God, the devil, and they input different objects to essentially play these roles.
Hold on.
For instance, in communism, I don't know why y'all keep talking. I don't know why you, because then when I start doing the same thing, y'all are gonna be mad. Have a pull on communism.
Okay.
Like just chill. Let me finish what I'm saying, and then you can talk respectfully. When you're able to, for instance, with communism. You switched out the proletariats and the bourgeoisie become the new angels, demons, X, Y, and Z. We see Jewish movements in this way where, yes, they get rid of the religion, right, or the religious parts of it, but then they input different sets of moral frameworks and make it political. Excellent. This has happened several times within the Jewish community.
No,
absolutely.
No. Yeah, I think
1,000%.
With all due respect,
I think you have a different. It doesn't mean he does it as a Jew. You have to understand the distinction.
Yeah,
you can understand that.
With all due respect, I just don't think you understand, right? Like you're talking about the bourgeoisie, right? Like I took like French, in my college, and like I understand what happened during the French quote unquote Renaissance. Some people call it the French Revolution. I call it the French Renaissance. But yeah, you can't.
David calls the French Revolution the Renaissance.
As somebody who understands like French history. Yeah.
I'm not talking about the French Renaissance. The fuck are you talking about?
No, but you brought it up, so that's why
I didn't bring up the French Renaissance.
You did bring it up, but
I brought up communism and the Bolsheviks.
Well,
The fuck are you talking
you brought up
about?
the bourgeoisie.
The Bolsheviks.
I know the bourgeoisie. Okay,
This guy.
you brought that up. I didn't bring it up. You brought that up.
I said, okay, guys, sir, you're okay. Do you know what the Dunning-Kruger effect is? That's what you're portraying right now.
Okay, but why do you think
I mean,
Jews
I have 2
communism?
PhDs, but go ahead.
I'm sure you do. I can tell.
Okay, King.
Some people call it the American Revolution. I call it the American Renovation.
I call it the American Renaissance.
What a fascinating little thing you got going on.
I think it's interesting. I don't think a lot of people are interested in it, but there's a cast of characters on Clubhouse, and, you know, they get together every day for free. So imagine if you had to actually organize a production in the real world. It's impossible compared to just live streaming Clubhouse. You know, that's why I say bootleg Clubhouse. I think people are interested in random conversations. It's curated random conversations about nothing.
I love it. I'm on my microphone editing, but I'm not on my.
You're like a DJ who's talking into a mic. It's like a prop. It doesn't actually do anything.
Yo. So, buddy, I tell you what, Jane and I've talked a lot about your run for Congress. I'm pretty into it. Buddy.
Yeah, the guy I'm going up against, his name is Darren LaHood, but my friend says it's just a fake, and then I'm going to pivot and attack and go against the commissioner for property taxes here.
I love it. You're bobbing and weaving, bebopping and scatting, bebopping and scatting.
It's to, like, cause chaos in the Republican Party, and then to ultimately take over the Democratic administration of property taxes in Chicago. That's the goal. And I've done some preliminary research into the situation. There's a lot more analysis I could do, but I think she had this catastrophic DUI event where she got arrested and told this Asian cop, she's like, "You got a little dick. I'm a fucking elected politician in this town." And she's rich, and she owns all these property tax assessment law firms throughout Illinois and throughout Indiana, and she's pulling down a huge salary plus a pension. So she deserves to be voted out of office. And
but the question is she right? Is he, in fact, not well endowed, the cop?
It was racist because he was Asian. So she was claiming that she's like, you Chinamen got little dicks.
I mean, so, you know, I'm not saying, I mean, maybe he did have a, you know.
Did you want to say something, J4LD4B40?
Yeah, Yaldebeo. That's my name. Don't wear it out.
Yaldebeo?
Yeah, Yaldebeo.
Yaldebeo. Okay, is that all you want to say, Yaldebeo?
No, man. What's up with that trolling thing? How many accounts do you have on here? That's kind of funny.
I've got 4 accounts on Clubhouse.
That's fucking hilarious, man. I like it when you do that. Makes me randy.
Yeah, I like it. I appreciate people that like it because I get kicked out of so many rooms, and sometimes I try to be serious and actually bring up important information that nobody is talking about or considering. So.
Oh, really? You know what, man? Let me take a minute here. Do you have anything to talk about? Because I'll listen.
I'm actually live with Scott Kent Jones in the Scott Jones movie in the Roger Mayhem Returns part 2.
I'm not a supporting actor. I'm a featured actor in the movie.
So do you know who Roger Mayhem is?
No, I don't. I've never heard of this before.
So we're filming a movie right now. It's called Roger Mayhem Returns, the movie star. It's in the Roger Mayhem movie house. And but Roger Mayhem unfortunately recently died. And Emma Williams is here.
Hey, Emma.
Emma is definitely a burner account. That is not a real person. I don't believe you.
Just pretend you're a real person and act like you're romantically interested in the both of us.
Yeah, Emma, if you can come on our live stream and request to join us, we would love to have you join us on Instagram right now.
#Talent.
But I doubt she will. It's got to be a burner account. So, I do have a poem I would like to read. This is how I'd like to start the show off.
All right.
Scott, what did you think about my poem reading earlier?
It was great at Uncle Steve's show.
Uncle Steve's show, yeah.
We smuggled you in there. That was fantastic.
It was great, wasn't it?
Dude, I'm your, I'm your biggest advocate on Clubhouse. I always sing your praises. I sing your praises in the deep state. They hate it. I'm like, I think he's the greatest.
I was recently on Dr. James's Instagram account screenshotting his very strange photos of himself.
My buddy, Dr. James.
Yeah. Okay, this is the poem. I want to dedicate this to our great president, Donald Trump, and his wizard, Elon Musk. This is called On the Harmony of Will and Fate, De Harmonia Voluntatis et Parcarum. So this is a meditation hypnosis. Take the deepest breath of the day through your nose. Hold it for 10 seconds. Oh. This is the evident and final solvent of the not philosophical concerning fate and free will, that it is thine own self, omniscient and omnipotent, sublime in eternity, that first didst order the course of thine own orbit, so that that which befalleth thee by fate is indeed the necessary effect of thine own will. These two then, that like gladiators have made war in philosophy through these many centuries, are made one by the love under will, which is the law of Thelema. O my son, there is no doubt that resolveth not in certainty and rapture at the touch of the wand of our law, and thou apply it with wit. Do thou grow constantly in the assimilation of the law, and thou shalt be made perfect. Behold, there is a pageant of triumph as each star, free from confusion, sweepeth free in its right orbit. All heaven acclaimeth thee as thou goest, transcendental in joy and in splendor, and thy light is as a beacon to them that wander afar, strayed in the night. Ah, moon. That's called On the Harmony of Will and Fate.
It's beautiful, man.
What's interesting is he capitalizes the following words: solvent, not, physical, free will, eternity, course, orbit, effect, will, these, gladiators, war, philosophy, centuries, one, love, will, law, thelema, sun, doubt, certainty, rapture, touch, wand, law, wit, assimilation, law, perfect, behold, pageant, triumph, star, confusion, orbit, heaven, joy, splendor, light, beacon, night, Amun. So he capitalizes a lot of words, which I think he's trying to show the sacred words that essentially have like a higher... They're just proper nouns, basically. He's denoting that all is God. And so he's trying to show, the power words, I would say. If that makes any sense. So welcome back to the Roger Mayhem movie, where we are still trying to gaslight and troll Roger Mayhem and others, even though Roger is no longer amongst us. He had a social audio premature death, unfortunately. I myself have had many deaths on this app. I've had over 30 accounts, and some of them are back. Some of them are there. Jefferson Park Farm, I believe. David Bowie. I've had so many accounts on this app that are still here, but I don't look at them. I don't listen to the replays. Because technically, I use Clubhouse as like a springboard to create content. And everything is pretty much gets deleted here anyways, because you can only store like 13 rooms on your profile. So This app does not act as any kind of library. And I wouldn't be surprised if USAID is responsible for fucking paying for this app. I don't see any ads.
No, I'm just an alien sent by the government, the CIA, to control everybody on this app.
I do think it could be true that In-Q-Tel is a primary investor in this app. It wouldn't matter, though. Ooh, El Padrino is here. I have basically recorded everybody on this app, and I have gathered no intelligence. So...
No.
So technically, I have rebranded every room as low IQ dumb people talking about nothing, wasting time. And I just challenge you to prove me wrong. Because I could go into a room right now, live stream that room, and you'd be like...
I can't even accept that challenge. It's just an abundant fact.
Yeah.
I have not yet to meet a Phil bro on here that knows what a formal debate is. You pick a topic, you debate about it. If you want to make it fair, you get two topics. One where, it puts the other person on the defensive, and you stick to those topics. You have a 2-minute opening statement, cross-examination, Q&A. You go to the audience, you get some Q&A, and then you conclude your debate, make your closing statements, whatever. I just never see that on here.
Yeah, that would be nice. Have you ever done Toastmasters?
No, I haven't.
It's just run totally professionally. And so if you could take the anger out of the debate, I feel like that's important because then it's just purely academic or rhetorical. So the problem is there's just really no real good leadership on this app. So it kind of goes back to the thought that everybody on the app sucks.
Yeah.
The people suck.
It's just very ironically funny that you mentioned that, but it just seems like the bread and butter around here is to just speak out of turn and just help each other around. There's like high school cliques on here, if you will.
Yeah.
Everybody's in a clique party.
Do you, I was thinking about like government and corporations and society. It is, do you think there's like an aspect of gangsterism or mafia type power structures, like technically it's gangs of people, working some negatively together, meaning that it's like a society is a composition of a huge number of cliques varying in size.
No, not exactly. I think what we used to have is some sort of like framework of like community. You could live in a neighborhood back during our grandparents' time, and people would actually go to each other's houses. They would probably meet outside on the regular for 4th of July's and like bring all their food outside and light all their fireworks all the way up and down the road. Some simple things that people take for granted now. And now it's just like the internet's taken over, and it's kind of like nobody really does this live, and it's just some sort of like some internet crazy. I don't even know what to call it, man. It's just like a bunch of people that are like isolated that meet up on the internet, and they just with each other's talking points.
Yeah, well, the problem is nobody's getting any smarter. Nobody's really creating any real change. They're just doing low IQ, high vibrational hypnosis. They are, I don't know, people are demanding respect on this app when they don't give respect and they have no real credentials. And everybody's pretty far out in this app. A lot of people are technically psychedelic and they don't know it. Meaning they project their superiority with the green bean, but they don't actually have any authority, nor do they have any real intelligence. So it's like a role-playing simulator for, what if I was the motherfucking king and queen of this motherfucking shit? You will respect my authority, and I will teach you the truth of the earth through math.
Yeah. It's overly moderated when you start pigeonholing somebody in a corner with logic. Yeah, I get it.
There's no intelligence, though. You may have a structure of logic, but there's no real intelligence because anyone who's talking on here is clearly not achieving anything in the real world because this is just a hypnosis app.
I think it's a little bit more complicated than that. I think there's like this dopamine aspect where you're kind of fucking with your reward system. So instead of going out and socializing with other people, you get on here and socialize instead, but you kind of get this like.
But it's a double entendre because you could go into the real world and say, you know what, talking with you here in the real world is a waste of my fucking time. You should be on Clubhouse.
Well, realistically, I mean, there's so much more social benefit, and you have so much more restraint and respect for people in the real life. Whereas on here, you get to like fuck around and remove your filter and kind of somewhat break the social contract of like respecting one another.
I do like the aspect of being in control of the communication. And so if I like that, then the low IQ stupid rooms also like that. So I think, there's some type of additional dopamine creation by being the controller of the communique. Even no matter how bad your ideas are, it's irrelevant. It's you will listen to me and give me respect. And that don't mean that I gotta give you any respect. But you will listen to me and give me respect because I am in control.
I've actually, it's funny that you mentioned this because, just the other day I was, speaking with an atheist, and I'm a theist, but I'm not here to push my rhetoric or I don't have any goal to, convert anybody. But, he went on, a gish gallop about how, let's tear down the current system that we have and, let's implement this, secular humanist society. And I'm sitting here going, your premise that you're basing this on is that you're completely different from the way a theist would think. And it's well, do you like people lying to you or do you like lying to other people? Do you want people messing around with your girlfriend? Don't you think there should be some kind of boundary? Wouldn't it be a nice thing to honor your mother or your parents? Little simple things like this, and it's anybody could really kind of adhere to that. It's not exclusive to religion, and it's you're really not so different from me. So I don't see why you're basing all this premise on the differences between the two. One person just has a lack of belief, and the other one happens to believe in a magic sky daddy, according to them, and they think that's ridiculous. Do you think if you got rid of religion in the world, would it make any kind of difference?
Yeah, those questions are just. I mean, it's a good question, but I don't know. The problem is, it's more words, but there's no inference or adjustment to behavior, or really rising IQ, rising EQ. Everyone is kind of stuck in their base stupidity and retardation on this app. Every take is essentially wrong. If I go into somebody's room who, let's just say, anyways, the point is I can condition myself off of all these bad takes. So it makes me as a conservative theist or a conservative national theist even more aggressively extreme because their takes are so bad. Meaning that you can use this app and the people on it as a mirror to adjust your sentiment and disgust of opposing parties. So I don't know, maybe they do the same thing, but it's bad takes. It's really bad takes, and everything you hear on this app, 80% is the exact opposite. Maybe even 90%. So it's just so interesting. The opposite of what people are saying on this app is actually, to me, the most interesting thing about this app.
It's a constant struggle to battle with the person that's straw manning you. They like to build straw huts out here. It's really as simple as we can get at it with.
JoyFit Pro, you want to come live with us? You want to join our live stream? JoyFit Pro says Adrian's handsome.
editing right now, buddy. I'm almost done posting my podcast from this morning. I had on Pure Excess, Capitalism and Commodity, Todd McGowan, Professor McGowan.
I like that, capitalism and commodity, because that's basically saying that's all we have. And he leaves out the other C word, communism, meaning there's no such thing as communism and capitalism and commodity.
I'm in bed. What are you talking about? Joy FitPro. Oh, hi, Joy.
Yeah, Joy. You want to join us? Hit the plus button to request to join our live stream, and you can join our podcast where low IQ dumb people talk about nothing and waste time.
What's that? How do you... Oh, you can't hear this. We were talking about this Larry David clip in the conversation, so I just dropped the Larry David clip in. I cut our 30-second conversation out and just put the clip in.
I thought you were going to ask me, what are the main basic
Pretty good.
insights? I was going to say unconscious and death drive, and that don't run on cocaine. But do you not run on cocaine? That is one of the theories of this book. That's right. Hey, let's do something. Okay. Let's turn on. That's right. That's right. I mean, that's the human condition, right? That's the perfect psychoanalytic instinct, right? Like the very thing. What's nice about that? I thought you were going to ask me what is it? Anything psychoanalytic insights? I was going to say conscious and death drive, and that what it's like encapsulating both.
Okay, Scott, mute your mic. I'm going to read a poem.
I'm muted. Here we go.
Okay, this is called a parenthesis on a certain virgin.
How do I mute myself here? Here.
Parenthesis de quadam virgine. Now, O my son, I will declare unto thee the virtue of that part of love which receiveth and draweth, being the counterpart of thine own. For behold, I am moved in myself by the absence of the virgin that is appointed for me, and her eagerness of purity doth encompass me with its soft tenderness, and twineth about me sweet scent, so that my mind is enkindled with a gentle flame, luminous and subtle, and I write unto thee as in a dream, for in this enchantment of her devotion I am caught up cunningly in beatitude, with great joy of the gods that have bestrewn my way with flowers, many flowers and herbs of magic and holiness, withal to match their beauty. Nay, O my son, I will cease this epistle unto thee for a while, that I may resist in the pleasure of this contemplation. For it is a solace ineffable and recreation like unto sleep among the mountains. Yea, can I wish thee more than this, that coming to mine age, thou mayst find a virgin like unto this to draw thee with her simplicity and her embroidered silence. Okay, this is called On Constancy in Love to a Pure Heart. De constatia amore, corde candito. Think it not strange, O my son, that I praise adultery, should praise also constancy and delight therein, for this is to state ill thy question. Herein is truth and wisdom concerning this matter, that so long as love be not wholly satisfied and equilibrated by entire fulfillment and exchange, constancy is a point of thy concentration, and adultery a division in thy will. But when thou hast attained the summit and perfection in any work, of what worth is it to continue therein? Hast thou 2 stomachs as hath a cow, to chew the cud of a digested love? Yet, O my son, this constancy is not of necessity a stagnation. Nay, behold, the body of Our Lady Nui, therein are found certain twin sons, that revolve constantly about each other. So also it may be in love, that 2 souls meeting discover each in the other such wealth and richness of light and love, that in one phase of life or incarnation, or even in many, they exhaust not that treasure. Nor will I say that such are not in their degree and quality thrice fortunate, but to persist in dullness and satiety, and in mutual irritation and abhorrence, is contrary to the way of nature. So therefore there is no rule in any case, but the law shall give light to every one that hath it in his heart, and by that wisdom let him govern himself. Okay, this is called On the Mystery of Evil. De Mysterio.
Do you write all this down, or do you get this from somebody else?
No, this is a book called the Book of Wisdom or Folly.
Oh, okay.
It's by Aleister Crowley.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, he's a British Kabbalist. You could say he's a Christian Kabbalist. Or a Catholic Kabbalist. Who knows? I mean, he created his own religion, technically. It's called Thelema. He is the prophet of this religious order. But I just look at it as neurolinguistic programming. And conceptually, theoretically, linguistically, it all makes sense to me. It is like New Age spirituality. And he's been extremely influential. His writings have definitely shaped, I think, a lot of people's thinking about action and how they rationalize their maybe their thoughts and speech and action, but it's maybe very limited. I don't know. It's chaos.
Yeah, man. People usually write their stuff when they're on drugs.
Yeah, I agree. And he has a chapter about all the drugs that people use to loosen their soul, from this vehicle body, if that's true, or if it's just, I think it's really just hypnosis. I think it's like a very advanced marketing tactic to essentially elaborate. I think he used the drugs to use his brain as basically do AI large language modeling. Like he really expanded out what's in the Bible, what's in history, and then he synthesized his own. He's basically Joseph Smith. Look, everybody, I met an angel and he gave me these golden tablets, and it's got a mystery language that only I can interpret. I am the new prophet. That's what he pulled. That's what everybody is pulling in a lot of these organized religions.
Yeah, he has a heavy influence on the music industry.
Oh. See, his big thing is he traveled the world, and so he's big into Tao Te Ching, the I Ching, and Hinduism, and Catholicism. So I think you can use Aleister Crowley's writings to do Gnostic work, but I think anything Kabbalistic is like some of the best neurolinguistic programming anybody can do for therapeutic purposes.
I have done Gnostic work many, many places.
We have somebody named Ken Tanner.
Ken Tanner is the man. Ken Tanner is a Christian pastor, an Anglican priest in Michigan. The man sweats the gospel. It's a beautiful human being. He's coming on my podcast, New Persuasive Words, probably in a week or so. He needs your prayers. He's a little under the weather right now, but he's a godly man. He could talk through spiritual things with you. You could bring him up. He's a guru. He's a Jedi.
Oh, talking of gurus and Jedis, I saw El Stern's Instagram account today, actually. Have you ever looked at El Stern's Instagram?
We're in a slight clubhouse war, my friend.
I thought you guys, created peace.
Nah. No, what would make you think that?
Because it's affecting your health, I can tell right now.
Elstan! That anti-Zionist woman who doesn't support Israel. Everybody, Adrian, should have a place to call home, except the Jews.
Okay, J4LD, or Yfor, whatever, how do I say your name again? Jesus.
You can just say Jay.
Okay, Jay. So, try to find my other Clubhouse account. It's called Wisdom Books. Yeah, Wisdom Books. And go join the Roger Mayhem Returns movie, because this B account is technically my burner account. So I'm going to fly away like a bumblebee and go rejoin this insightful conversation by a bunch of low IQ dumb people talking about nothing, to contrast that as I read more poetry. But I need to use this account to fly away. So try to type in the search bar in Clown House wisdom books, and then go back to the hallway, and then you'll see my Roger.
Wait, Joey Fit Pro, who used to have a crush on my ex-hubby bromance? Who's that? Joey Fit Pro says he used to have a crush on my ex-hubby. Who did?
And that's where the law is laid
This
out.
is called Jews Run America. Clubhouse Politics.
Hold on. Leviticus 19:28 only applies to Jews, but before that, the rest of the laws apply to everyone. I mean, you can't pick and choose which part of the Bible you're going to apply. Now, we can't pick and choose to follow and then just deal with the
I'm not picking and choosing.
Right?
Picking and choosing.
You just said he's following some book, which I'm pretty sure you're talking about the Torah, because he's speaking of what Jews.
No, I'm saying
I'm
people.
pretty sure not based on his own fruition, right? This is something he read, laws laid out by God, given to Moses, probably.
No, I understand that, but I'm just saying.
Okay.
Now, David, I want to see if you'll be consistent. So, let me ask you a question and be honest with me. Do you consider, are you familiar with Ivanka Trump?
Of course.
Do you consider her a Jewish woman?
I don't know.
Does your community consider her a Jewish woman?
What's my community?
The Jewish people? The Jewish diaspora?
I'm American.
Oh, so you're not Jewish?
I don't think David Bobadilla is Jewish.
No, okay, Zach, let me see if you'll be honest. Let me see if you'll be honest. Zach, do you consider Ivanka Trump a Jewish woman?
Wait, so just like that, you just don't.
Because look, David, I'm the type of person where I have good faith conversation with people. I have good faith conversations with people. I don't need to just scurry around or act as if, I didn't hear what somebody said. I asked you a specific question. I asked you to be honest with me, and you weren't.
Okay,
so I'm moving on to try and see if there will be somebody who is honest. And I think you understand I think you understand what I'm trying to get at. That's why you don't want to be honest with me. That's why you don't want to be honest. Because when we were having the conversation, at Black Rabbi, when the Black Rabbi, right, was breaking down the absurdity of trying to pinpoint a specific DNA, right, to quote unquote the Jewish people or why it doesn't make sense. I'm
why do you keep saying
specific example?
What does that mean?
Right?
What do you say?
Which dispel which you said what?
You said quote unquote the Jewish people. Why do you say that?
Yes, because again, it's retarded to try and consider the Jewish diaspora or the Israelite diaspora as one specific people. It makes no sense. And I'm pointing to a reason why. That's why you don't want to answer if Ivanka Trump is Jewish.
I think that's
you don't want to answer that.
Point, though. That's
there are cases and then all the evidence that is happening on each side is being overlooked. And I think what would be helpful for the conversation is a person. Hold on, the guy before presented a loaded amount of information, and it's like I think it would be helpful to pinpoint one of the things he said specifically and refute that. So you go one by one and say, here's why I disagree with all that you said, instead of making an overall general statement.
I love Nurse Joy. So Bertie picked the first point that they should refute to one another, whatever the case may be that you heard. So
I don't agree with
this. Like Ivanka Trump may be like, what the fuck is that?
Is she Jewish? Yes or no?
It doesn't matter.
You see?
It doesn't matter.
This is why I can't. This is look. Respectfully, this is why. If you want to know why,
Okay, if I say yes,
you want to know respectfully. If you want to know why your people have the reputation of being shiesty ass niggas. If you want to know why the shystiness is associated with a lot of things,
I never called you the N-word. I never called you the N-word, so stop.
Okay. What? You want a cookie?
No, but...
Are you offended by the word shysty?
You want a cookie?
I don't like the N-word, so listen.
Okay.
He said
you say that like I can't.
Oh, you did say the N-word, King. Yeah.
You did say the N-word, yeah.
Okay, who cares? What the fuck? You mad about it? You mad about it?
I'm mad about it, yes.
I'm mad about it. Oh, he may. I'm mad about it.
What the Hold on. Why did you change your voice when you said that? I feel insulted.
Why do you feel insulted? Why do you feel insulted, David? Why do you feel insulted, sir?
That's not nice.
Fuck out of here, man. What the fuck is wrong with you, man? Stop crying.
I'm not crying, and you need to read. Okay, you need to
be like Ian. What the fuck? Anyway, so I'm waiting for somebody to relax. Is Ivanka Trump Jewish? Is she Jewish?
She is. She had a kosher conversion.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you, Ian. She's Jewish. But guess what? She wasn't born Jewish. Do you see what we're getting at? Do you see how genetics can change? Hold on, David. Do you see how genetics can change? Do you see why it's absurd to try and
because there was never really segregation.
Where each tribe was born out of a different brother, where each of them could have made their own decisions in terms of who they're bringing into the flock, X, Y, and Z. There's so many things that could have happened over the 3,000 to 4,000 year period. It is impossible to try and trace everybody back to the same DNA structure. That's the only point.
Okay, so what is your point?
Look, I can't have this conversation. I can't do this.
No. Give me the end goal. Give me the end goal. Okay, listen.
You say it one more time, Black Rabbi, because he wasn't listening. He wasn't listening.
I wish everybody on Clubhouse would watch his ass could just meet up somewhere and just beat.
And all
I'm not trying to fight nobody, bro. I'm really not.
All the Jews X, Y, and Z. Okay, give me the end goal. What happens after that? Like we were talking, and you're right the entire time. You know, the Jews, yes, X, Y, and Z. And then
you've had the black rabbi. Black rabbi. What is your denominator? What's your
Okay, so you're not gonna answer it.
You said what?
What's the answer?
Orthodox. So you have black rabbi who's an Orthodox Jew. You have Ian. I think he's the same, or Ian's just Ian. I forget which sect you are, but I think you're just.
Reformed conservative.
You have Reformed conservative. Then you have James here, who was a Karaite Jew. All of them have spoken on the stage, David, with varying positions, different positions. They all explain some part of what we're talking about. And yet, David, you can't follow. Anything anyone has said. And we're supposed to take you seriously.
I'm not saying their opinion doesn't matter.
It's not even an opinion. Like, James literally broke down the entire difference between how Judah, the kingdom, is essentially usurped Israel, the title. How one tribe, if you consider they literally taken the term Israel and it become all 12.
I heard it.
He broke that down.
Trust me.
Then you have black rabbis spend a good amount of 5 to 7 minutes literally breaking down why it makes no sense to trace everyone back to one genetic. And you sit here, I don't know.
No. My only question is, like, what is the end goal? My only question. That's
of what? The end goal of what?
What is the purpose of you talking about it and making your point heard? Is based on what? Is based on either you're just saying it to say it, you're saying it to convert, you're saying it to make a point. Like, give me a point.
We're just saying it to make points, man. I don't get it. What do you think we're talking about?
Why are you even bringing it up?
You think we're saying this to do what?
I believe that David is drunk. And I think at this point, centering David is not very sensitive or respectful to David's needs.
Makes sense.
I think it's clear that he is drunk.
I'm going to answer those questions. Those questions are very
okay, for the record, there is no answer. You have no answer.
What?
There is no answer, man. It's connected, man. I don't even understand what you're saying. I don't even understand what you're saying.
Hold on. He made a big point about the community.
You made a point about the.
He made a big point about the Jewish committee over and over again. I was trying to find out.
If you read the chat, I made a disclaimer on no personal attacks, no ad hominems, no bullying, and no fighting. I would consider this as bullying, what Zach is doing.
Okay, I said, though, that we should be sensitive to his needs and stop centering him because he's
sensitive to his needs.
Clearly not.
Can I make a statement to King? I just want to make one point to King.
I was just asking him to finalize the point. That's what I was asking.
Why are you cutting me off?
I wasn't making an.
Why are you cutting me off, bro?
Sorry, go ahead.
So anyways, I wasn't to make this other point. So just so you're clear, what it requires for a woman specifically to become quote unquote Jewish in that way is that all she has to do is say a blessing and go into the water, right? She dips in the water, and there's two witnesses there. That's it.
And I agree. And I think that's the point that you illustrated so perfectly, Black Rabbi, and why I tried to distill all the history you gave into a really good example everybody can follow. Just point to somebody who is now considered Jewish that wasn't born that way. That shows in a small instance all of the history that you painted. I just don't want people to, when people like David come in and they essentially dismiss and or act like they didn't hear something that was a full breakdown that somebody has clearly spent a lot of their time to ingest the information and distill it. That's very annoying to me, right? That's very annoying. People who do that. It's like you're being disrespectful for no reason.
Hey, don't speak over nobody, bro.
Good faith conversation, then have that conversation. That's all I ask is that if we're gonna have good faith conversations, let's have that.
There's literally Jews all over the world, and none of them are like.
That's correct.
I've been living in Jerusalem. I'm in Jerusalem right now. I've been here for 8 years, and I'll tell you that I meet Mexican Jews. They look and talk Mexican. I give a class. Wait, don't cut me off. I give a class every Sunday. Tomorrow I'll be giving a class to Jews in India, B'nai Menashe, right?
Yes.
There's Jews from Syria. They look Syrian. There's Jews from Iraq. Look Iraqi.
You know, I gotta say, African Americans have essentially achieved everything.
It's because I have a nervous laugh. I'm trying to keep my shit.
Okay, I'm gonna read one more chapter from the Book of Wisdom and Folly. Scott, thanks for being my study partner here today as I continue to read what we used to call books.
Is that inspired by the Torah?
It's inspired by our holy Kabbalah.
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, this is called On the Mystery of Evil. Did I read this one?
You know what I wish I could plug my microphone into my phone and use my mic instead of using the phone mic, but I don't think you can do that on Instagram.
No.
You can do it with the iPhone, but only with certain apps.
But is the quality really that much better if you have a quiet surrounding space?
Oh yeah, the quality would be way better, yeah.
You know what's amazing is when you listen to your recordings on different platforms, on different devices, it does sound different. It doesn't sound, it sounds, there's different, it's amazing how, you can hear the same thing like 3 different ways. And it's literally the same recording, and one of them is better.
This podcast I'm about to post is like so unbelievably great. It's a brilliant podcast too.
But people want it live. People want it live.
Well, I did live stream it. I mean, I live stream it on YouTube and Facebook, and then I turned it into a podcast for posterity forever.
Okay, so the most interesting thing that I've heard recently is that you can't hear the past and you can't hear the future. So, and then you could say you can't hear the now either. Anyways, this is called De Mysterio Mali, On the Mystery of Evil. This is by Aleister Crowley. Moreover, say not thou in thy syllogism that since every change, soever be it the creation of a symphony or a poem or the putrefaction of a carcass, is an act of love. And since we are to make no difference between anything and any other thing, therefore all changes are equal in respect of our praise. For thou, this be a right conclusion in the term of thy comprehension as a master of the temple. Yet it is false in the eyes of him that hath not attained to understanding. So therefore any change or phenomenon appeareth noble or base to the imperfect mind, according to its consonance and harmony with the will that governeth that mind. Thus, if it be thy will to delight in rhythm and economy of words, the advertisement of a commodity may offend thee. But if thou art in need of that merchandise, thou wilt rejoice therein. Praise then or blame aught as seemeth good unto thee, but with this reflection, that thy judgment is relative to thine own condition, and not absolute. This also is a point of tolerance, whereby thou shalt avoid indeed those things that are hateful or noxious to thee.
Hateful.
Unless thou canst in our mode win them by love, by withdrawing thine attention from them. But thou shalt not destroy them, for that they are without doubt the desire of another. Did you hear that? It mentioned commodity.
I like that.
I'm almost finished with the book. This is a $50 book.
Yeah, you know what I got? I got a $50 something.
Well, you should DM Elle Stern and see if she's available for $50.
I need $50 to make you holler, because I get paid to do the wild thing.
So, did you partake in the dress stealing and the looting and the thefts in your fair city?
No. Look at me sneezing away here.
I think Elle Stern put a spell on you.
She put a spell on me.
I think she hexed you, and this is why you're sick. Do you think Elle Stern is a witch? Do you think Elle Stern is a witch?
She could be.
What do Catholics?
Like
What do Catholics?
Like a Wiccan?
Yeah, what do Catholics do to Wiccans? Do they do exorcisms?
No, I usually wouldn't do it. You'd have to be possessed.
You don't think she's possessed with a demon?
No.
Well, I'm saying it's possible that she did a Wiccan witch spell, and this is why you're suffering with influenza.
It could be.
Somebody says free Palestine. Jay, did you want to say something as I continue this journey of folly or wisdom? Or Redford?
I can't tell if Israelites or I don't know, man. Like, there's two ways we can go about this. If they're gonna follow the good book, if they're Hebrew Israelites and they follow the new covenant, then them talking about endless genealogies, like in First Timothy or Titus.
What more of a waste of time is there to talk about BHI?
Like you're not supposed to do that because it's not glorifying or edifying God. You're just wasting time. Edifying race. And then in the Old Testament, I think it's Deuteronomy 23:2.
Oh, yo.
So if you had like a line broken in your lineage, or you're a bastard and you have no father, you're kind of like somewhat of an outcast. So, you know, either which way you go, I mean, can they prove that they've had a line in a lineage that it had been unbroken and they had a complete lineage going back? You know, it's just, I don't know, dude. It's kind of ridiculous to sit here and discuss these things. I don't know why it's so important.
Testing, 1, 2, 3, test. Look at that profile, John. Look at it. I have a strong profile. Look at that. Look at my profile. Very strong.
Yeah, I think Jay was making the point that you should probably just, go to the gym and read a book and just STFU. Because at the end of the day, entropy tells you that life is just a process of breaking down. So what people are really doing is they're trying to talk about something, but what they're doing is talking about something. And again, thus, every room is just a room full of dumb, low IQ people talking about nothing, wasting time. That's what people are doing here. And so I think there's a way to essentially create a black hole and take all the dumb conversations on this app and just bootleg them and utilize it for what it is, free content. But the problem is the content doesn't set you free. It imprisons you. So I want to repackage the prison and redistribute the prison.
Well, we're talking about a people from like 2,000 years ago, and they're talking about like genealogy here. So let me unpack Deuteronomy for you. A bastard shall not enter into the congregation of the Lord, even to his 10th generation shall he not enter into the congregation of the Lord.
What do you think of the beard
any single
here?
time, at any point in time over the past 2,000
John,
years, any one of these gentlemen
I think I should keep it.
has been bastardized at any point in their generation.
We go
and how are you going to trace that back, and how are you going to verify it? So you're kind of screwed at that. So you're right, dude.
Singing bye bye, Mr. Clubhouse, blue sky.
There's nothing worse than not having contentment. Contentment is the greatest defensive weapon anyone can possibly have. And what's important to know is there's only the now. There is no
It's not the
tomorrow.
best weapon against AIDS or herpes. That, my friend, is a prophylactic.
Some people take PrEP, and some people take Valtrex.
Valtrex is the shit.
And some people have herpes on their middle finger. Well, some people have herpes on their face. Some people get shot in the ear.
Some people have herpes on their personalities, and they go in Clubhouse and they make everyone break out and itch.
Do you think Michael Crooks is buried in a cemetery somewhere, or did they dispose of his body in an incinerator?
I do not know.
It's an important question to know. This guy is a historically important person. He almost blew the president's head off. You'd think we would want to maybe figure some things out about Michael Crooks and not just forget about the guy. He did something. Some people did something. Who was the associations? What's the investigation? I mean, there's a lot of things that Trump has gotten into office, but he has said nothing. It's all just a bunch of executive orders, but we've learned nothing. It's all just state secrets. I mean, that's what it is. Historically, every fucking major historical period, I'm sure there's major state secrets, but Trump is not setting us free fast enough. That's my opinion. If you want a MAGA America, that means increase our liberty. Give us the ability to round up illegals and pay us $15,000 per head. It's a joke. I'm trying to create some comedy bits here.
The late stage capitalism does not end in communism. It ends in authoritarianism.
Imagine if Trump allowed people to do immigrant catching, and he forced the airlines to do runs to other foreign countries and to basically deport people, immediately. Could you imagine if they really did do the biggest deportation program in the history of America and they really got rid of millions of people in 1 year? And that was the whole focus, was rid the country of illegals by force. Would that be illegal?
It depends how you did it. If you used the military, it would be illegal.
But why? I think the military essentially makes it legal because you're using...
Posse comitatus, you can't use
So revoke it. Revoke it. I don't understand. Suspend it. What's the difference? It's an invasion.
Try that.
It's not even try it. You have to have generals that are willing to do it. And any general who tells his troops not to do it, you fire that person or you arrest that person. You are the president. You're Caesar. You can do whatever you want to do. You can, legally. That's the power of the presidency. It's his people. It's his assets. It's his decision. Whatever he says, if people don't do it, he fires them. And he fires them on TV and he fires them on CNN. And he does it every day until people start doing what he wants them to do. That's the way you do it. You call the CEO of American Airlines and say, "Hey, I'm going to buy your planes and you're going to fly out 3 million people over the next 120 days." And he declares national emergency.
You do that.
I'm being very facetious because I think if people heard what I'm saying, it would really cause extreme gaslight and emotional meltdown and a lot of anger. But I do like to propose it hypothetically because if you were a country in the year 30 BC, that's what you would have done. There was no illegals living in your country. You were at war with other countries and you absorbed. It was tribal. It was totally tribal. Anyways, I have a theory that tribalism and gangsterism, or gangs and mafia, is technically what's happening around the world, which is essentially hives of, hornet's nest competing for resources, domination, and tactical superiority in all things. It's very natural. It's just the way the world is working. And fascism is in every major city, in every major country, and that country and all its population are essentially working for fascist governments. I don't think there is anything but fascist government, right? I mean, communism is fascism, socialism is fascism, capitalism is fascism. Isn't everything just a degree or an index of fascism?
I mean, I don't think so.
It's obvious because Democrat liberal extremists are fascists and they're communists. It is fascism. It is.
No, I mean, I think you could be authoritarian and not fascist. Because you could be like, fascists tend to be racially inclined. Like, there's an ethno-national component to most fascists. So you could be authoritarian. You could be Marxist and not fascist, right? Communism tends to not be race-based. In fact, it's anti-race-based.
See, this is where economics and where race is insignificant in terms of... See, you could say that the algorithm is racist, or you could say that censorship is racist, meaning that the communication of the operating superstructure is negating outside communication because it's slowing it down. So regardless, I'm just saying that eliminating unnecessary communication is essential to people being able to do what their primary objectives are. And unfortunately, we have so much communication that most people are just getting that dopamine, and it's not essential communication. So,
That's true.
You have a podcast called Persuasive Words, correct?
New persuasive words.
New persuasive words. Well, why don't you just call it Persuasive Words Now, starring Dr. Kent Jones?
I like that.
See, so my friend Max, his dad has a business called Pronunciation Workshop, and he teaches people around the world how to speak American English. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands.
We don't say rising into love. There is in it the idea of the fall. Better to have a short life that is full of what you like.
Now, the funny thing here is everybody's so used to kicking you off of the fucking panels, I don't think they realize that you're streaming them off of theirs onto other ones.
No, a lot of them do. And that's why they really hate me, because it's like taking advantage of them, and they feel stupid for being here wasting their time.
Honestly, dude, I don't think they feel any sense of humiliation doing what they do on a daily basis.
No, everybody's got to know that they're really not up to snuff here if they're talking, and just I don't know. I think people are just like really they don't have the wealth